Know that the average person has 7 grams of microplastics in their brain? That's about 1.4 credit cards. The idea of having an entire credit card inside of your brain seems crazy, but unfortunately, that's the reality. Even worse, we don't know what impact these microplastics are having on our brains. My name is Ben Linscott, and in this speech, I aim to educate you on the possible dangers of microplastics as well as possible ways of limiting your microplastic exposure. Now, I've mentioned microplastics, but what are they? They are small plastic particles, less than 5 millimeters in size. They inhabit every single part of our environment, from the soil that we walk on to the oceans and streams that we fish in. There are two types of microplastics, primary and secondary. Primary microplastics are created intentionally, like turf, small plastics on clothing, and exfoliant beads, while secondary microplastics are created unintentionally, like microfibers from synthetic fabrics, plastic like Tupperware, and trash bags breaking down into smaller pieces, and other methods like city dust, tire abrasion, and flakes of paint. Microplastics can enter your body in several different ways. One of the most common ways is through the food chain. Eating fish is one of the most common ways because fish ingest large quantities of microplastics, and in turn, you also ingest their large quantities of microplastics. The oceans and rivers are severely polluted with microplastics, and not only fish, but also mammals like cows and poultry like chickens and other farm animals have high numbers of microplastics. We also gain microplastics through direct contact with filtered water and even just breathing. And we can gain high numbers of microplastics through our sweat glands and open wounds. So microplastics seem to be unavoidable. So what exactly are they doing to you? Like I said before, there's plastic in your brain. What I didn't mention is that in the past 8 years, according to UNM researchers, as the amount of plastic in the environment grows, it also increases in our brain. It has increased by 50%. This is higher than most other organs like the testes, placenta, liver, and kidneys. After some studies of the people's brains that are diagnosed with dementia, they found that on average, the dementia patients had 10 times more than a person who does not have dementia. Along with this, they discovered that some of the even smaller particles were breaching the blood-brain barrier, which they believe may be disrupting the brain's ability to send messages throughout the rest of the body. While it's still unclear what exactly microplastics are doing to the human reproductive system, human fertility rates have been declining, specifically with the rate of plastic usage. With chemicals used in plastic known to interfere with reproductive processes such as HPG axis, testosterone creation, spermogenesis, oogenesis, and importantly, the development of the placenta and embryo, it makes you only wonder what having these plastic in those organs is doing to your body. Now, while it is impossible to eliminate microplastics from your body, there are ways to minimize your exposure. Avoiding microplastics when drinking water is when drinking any liquids, avoid drinking from plastic bottles. Along with this, when drinking tea, I'd recommend drinking loose leaf tea because tea bags are made with high amounts of synthetic fibers, and these synthetic fibers will leach high amounts of toxic chemicals and microplastics into your hot water. When eating, limit the consumption of seafood as fish and other aquatic life have high numbers of microplastics. Instead, eat meats like chicken, venison, beef, and pork. This won't remove microplastics from your diet, but pick the lesser than the greater. While eating, make sure to avoid the use of plastic containers if possible, as well as metal utensils instead of plastic, as well as these can introduce high numbers of microplastics into your body. It also helps to use glass containers or plates when heating food. This avoids the plastic from being warped, and it can leach if it's plastic and it's warping in the microwave. It can cause toxic chemicals to leach into your food as well as even more microplastics. Around the house, I'd recommend switching out your synthetic clothing for cotton or linen clothes, especially around your groin. It would also help to switch your sheets and blankets to other natural fibers because rolling around in sheets can cause high numbers of microfiber particles, which are microplastics, to go into your air, and in turn you breathe those in. It will also help to filter the air in your home to avoid breathing in as many microplastics as possible and to keep your home dusted, vacuumed regularly. Well, microplastics are now a permanent part of our lives and are unavoidable. We can always try to minimize our exposure. I implore those listening to support anti-plastic legislation and to try your best to reduce single-use plastics. We will never be rid of microplastics, but we can try our best to avoid using them, and we can make our environment a little bit cleaner. Thank you.